Good morning. Good Wednesday morning. I need to do something about my lighting. Get better light on this so you can see it. Today, the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, Chapter 7, the 4 Degrees of Action. Welcome this Wednesday morning or whatever day you're listening to it. This chapter, just reading it over again this morning just gets me fired up, right? And I hope it does you too. The 4 degrees of action. One of the questions. This is again. This is all Grant Cardone talking. Mostly my interjection of some stuff every once in a while. But one of the questions that he's received a lot over the years says, "How much action is necessary to generate success?" How much? What do I have to do? What's the minimum that I have to do? That's it. Really, that's what people are saying. What's the shortcut? What do I have to do not to get fired? Right? That's a lot of times that's what people ask. And that's all they just want to know. What do I have to do in order to not get fired? Right? Well, the reality is that the more action you take, the better your chances are of getting a break. Disciplined, consistent, persistent actions are more of a factor of being successful than any other combination of things. This goes back to Jeff Olson, right? Small, seemingly insignificant steps, insignificant actions done consistently over time are what creates success. So understanding how to calculate and take the right amount of action is more important than whatever your idea is, whatever your product is, whatever your invention is, whatever your business plan is. Most people fail because they are operating at the wrong degree of action. The wrong degree of action. Grant Cardone talks about 4 degrees of action. That's the title of this chapter, right? 4 degrees of action. And those 4 degrees of action, no matter what happens, whenever something comes your way, there are 4 things that you can do. You can do nothing. You can retreat, right? You can take normal levels of action, or you can take massive action. Those 4 things. We're probably all working in some area we're bringing those into our lives, right? In some places, maybe we're doing nothing. In some places, we're backing up. In some places, we're taking massive action, right? So the key is deciding what to do where, right? So his first degree, right? We talk about the different degrees. Do nothing, right? No matter what, you can make a decision. If you fail to make a decision, that you've still done something, right? You've still taken some action. I've chosen not to act, right? No matter what degree of action you are operating in, they all require some kind of work, right? I probably haven't said it. In a long time, but maybe when I was in the Army, talked about people working harder to get out of work than they would have had to work had they done whatever it was they were supposed to do, right? Think about that. In prospecting, I don't want to get on the phone, right? I don't want to get on the phone and call. And people will spend more time coming up with reasons why they can't do this, or practicing creative avoidance. Oh, I need to do this first or that first, or blah, blah, blah. They will spend more time, more energy doing stuff to get out of what they don't want to do than they would have to do it. I know that sounds stupid, but I know what it means in here, right? You work harder to not do something than you would have had to work if you had just done it, right? Signs that you are doing nothing include boredom, right? Lethargy, complacency, lack of purpose, right? People that are in this group, and this could be painful to do a little self-reflection here and think about um, where are you in this, right? People in this group will find themselves spending their time and their energy justifying their situations, which requires just as much work as the other actions. Justifying their situations. Oh, well, I'm not, I don't have any money because of the economy. I don't have any money because I don't get paid enough. Jim Rohn, I love this quote, right? It's Jim Rohn when he's talking about his mentor, Earl Schoaf, right? He said, this is all the company pays. Why should I work hard? This is all the company pays. And Earl Schoaf told him, no, Jim, that's all the company pays you, right? Think about that. This is all they pay. Well, no, that's all they pay you. As you get into this chapter, I'm reminded of people who say, well, if they paid me more, I would work harder, right? If they just paid me more, I would work harder. Well, what if you turn that around? What if you work harder? They'd probably pay you more, right? Instead of just showing up and expecting a paycheck, right? People that do nothing will insist to their friends and family that they are happy and content and that everything is all right, which confuses people because they see the actions and the results are incongruent, or the statements and the actions are incongruent, right? Maybe the next book that we do is the 4 disciplines of execution, right? We talk about lead measures and lag measures, and when we put things together and we know this is science, it's math, right? That if you do this, then this will happen, statistically. If you do this, then this will happen, blah, 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 and eventually get to your result, right? And if we had a contest, let's just say we did a contest and we say, who can call the most people, right? Who can call the most people? And you're on the honor system. All you got to do is tell me every day how many people you called. You can tell me, every day you could say, I called 50 people, right? And I won't know for sure whether or not you did that until we get to the point where the results come in, right? Because if you weren't making the calls, the results aren't going to happen. If you were making the calls, the results are going to happen, right? Lead measures, lag measures from the 4 disciplines of execution. I'm going to keep that in mind for the next book. So people that are doing nothing are going to insist to everybody else that they're doing, man, I'm working hard, right? Well, I don't see it, right? The second degree of action, the retreaters, the people that back up, right? Their fear of success. They have this fear of success phenomenon. Maybe you've heard of people sabotaging their own success, right? They get close to success and then they back off. Maybe they feel that they're not worthy, right? But like doing nothing, retreating is an action that requires effort and hard work, right? If you watch any healthy child, he talks about children a little bit, but watch any healthy child, you'll see that it is not normal human behavior to retreat. It is normal human behavior to move forward. Of course, everybody's a little different, right? Everybody's a little different, but kids are typically go, 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 go until we tell them stop, 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 right? They learn how to walk, and then what's the next thing they do? They run, right? And we tell them, stop it, stop running, right? During childhood, don't touch that. Be careful. Don't talk to him. Get away from that, right? We're faced with all these negative things that sometimes we will bring into ourselves, right? And then this is obviously being told not to do things a lot of times is for our own safety, for our own good, but it can be difficult to rebound from that, and to try new things later on in life, right? So we might even be encouraged to retreat by a work associate, a friend, a family member who believes that we're too ambitious or too focused on some area of our lives, right? And it says it doesn't matter why. The retreaters move themselves in the opposite direction of their goals. The outcome is usually the same. Any place in which you have assumed, any place in your life in which you have assumed that you can't go any farther is a retreat. If I've gone as far as I can go here, right? Then if I've decided there's nothing I can do, that's a retreat, right? The stock market sucks. I'm never going to invest in the stock market again. That's a retreat. Most marriages fail. I'm going to stay single. That's a retreat. The acting business is too hard, right? I'm just going to be a waiter. The job market is terrible. The real estate market is terrible. I'm going to go get a job. That's a retreat, right? I can't control the outcome of the election, so I'm not going to vote. A retreat. All of these things require some kind of action, right? You're moving backwards, right? You're moving backwards. People who retreat will spend their time justifying why they're retreating, right? Yeah, the interest rates have gone up and the real estate market is down. I'm going to go get a job, right? I have to support my family, right? I have to pay my bills, right? It's a retreat from what they're, from moving forward and being successful in real estate, right? The third degree of action is normal, average, right? I'm just going to do, I'm going to do what I need to do at work to keep from getting fired, right? They do just enough people do just enough in their marriages and their careers to be happy, okay, right? Average. The majority of the workplace is average. I question that. I question that. It's okay. We've been talking about work ethic a little bit in a couple of different arenas, that I've been operating in. But that's the goal. The normal is the goal. Average is the goal. Average marriages, average health, average career, average financing, right? As long as average works, I'm fine with it. People ask me when I'm teaching real estate classes, people ask me, what's the average real estate agent make? You don't want to know. Well, how many houses does the average real estate agent sell? You can't afford to be average, right? You can't afford to be average in the real estate industry, right? When people are operating at average levels, normal levels, as soon as something changes that it makes it less than normal, then they back off or they quit, right? They realize that, I can't, that, the market has changed. I can't take a chance on this, right? When you've only been taking normal actions, right? When you've only been taking normal actions, you are susceptible to the challenges that come your way, right? So I love this too. Average, by definition, assumes less than extraordinary, right? It is less than extraordinary. Be honest with yourself. Here's the kicker. Be honest with yourself. Do you have more energy and creativity available that you're not using? Are you an average student, in an average marriage? You have average kids, average finances, average businesses. Who cares? Who wants to be average? Right? Who wants to be average? What would you do? I'm gonna if you saw this ad on TV, this fairly average product can be found at an average price and delivers mediocre results. Right? This average movie, this new movie that's coming, is opening up this weekend, has an average director, average acting, and the critics are saying there's 2 hours of average action here, right? I'm going to offer you a class to teach you how to be an average cook, average real estate agent, right? What if you advertise that? I'm an average real estate agent. I'm going to provide average service for you. Man, people are just banging down your door, aren't they, to hire you, right? Taking normal action is the most dangerous of all the levels of action because it's the most accepted by society, right? This level of action, he says, is authorized by the masses, and therefore people that don't take normal actions don't draw the necessary attention required to catapult them to success, right? And then the last degree of action, right? So we've got no action, retreat, average action, or normal action, and now massive action. Massive action. You want to be massively successful, you need to take massive action. A lot of people aren't willing to do that, right? Massive action is the level. Not only does it create success, but it also creates new problems, right? But until you create problems, you're not truly operating at massive stages. So he talks about starting his seminar business. So Grant Cardone started, if you're not familiar with him, started as a car salesman, and eventually said that, you know what, I can teach people how to be car salesmen. I can create this seminar, and I can go to car dealerships around the world, around the nation, and sell my seminars. And they weren't cheap. They weren't cheap, but he said he started at 29, and he employed at age 29, and he employed the 10X rule to create a name for himself. Now, this is interesting to note too. He started at age 29, but he really didn't. And if you're in sales and you haven't heard of Grant Cardone, you probably been under a rock, because he's out there, he's everywhere, but he didn't explode onto the scene until he was in his 50s. Right? He started this business, this sales training business at age 29, but he really didn't explode onto the scene until his 50s, right? But it was the small, seemingly inconsequential things done consistently over time that resulted in that explosion, right? So he says he started at age 29, employed the 10X rule in his seminar business to create a name for himself, started his day at 7 o'clock in the morning, didn't get back to his hotel room until 9 o'clock, spent the whole day going to companies, cold calling companies, and offering to do presentations to their sales management, their sales and their management teams. Would visit as many as 40 different organizations in a single day. And God, that is brutal, right? Brutal. And then I love this in the book. He says he remembers being in El Paso, Texas, right? A city where he had never been, where he didn't know anybody. Nobody knew him. And within 2 weeks, he had been to every business in the market. And he said he was unsuccessful. He said, even though he was unsuccessful in making every one of them a client, he secured more business by taking massive action than he would have done otherwise. He says that a real estate agent followed him one time to observe firsthand how he was growing his business. And he said, after 3 days of shadowing me, the agent said, there's no way that I can do what you do. I'm only riding with you, and I'm exhausted. But Grant Cardone said, I approached every day like my life depended on the actions that I took. I think in the other book where he talks about being in El Paso, and about this scenario where he went to, where he came here. I think he said he was down to his, he was down to the end of his money. He was down to the end of his time. If he didn't succeed here, he was not going to have the money to continue anywhere else. And so he said, I refused to leave the city without knowing that I did everything possible to meet every business owner there. When you are taking massive action, you're not thinking about how. You're not thinking about how many hours that you work. You're not thinking about how much money you're going to make, right? It is all about go, go, go. Your mindset has to change, and when your mindset changes, your results will change too, right? A routine day becomes a thing of the past, right? He committed to this massive action, he said, until one day it was no longer an unusual activity, but a habit, right? And then people would ask him, why are you still out here this late? Why are you calling us on a Saturday? Why are you, blah, you never quit, do you? Right? Those are the signals. Those are the signals that you get to know that you're taking massive action. People comment on your level of activity. But you can't think about that. You can't think about the fact that people are, they compliment your work, or you can't think about how many hours you're going to work or how much money you're going to make. Or you have to approach each and every day as though your life and your future depend on it. Whatever it is that you're doing, right? If you approach it as if your life and your future depend on it, are you going to put more effort into it? Whatever it is you're doing. I don't care if you're working at McDonald's, right? If you're working at McDonald's, make that McDonald's the best damn McDonald's anybody's ever eaten in. What if that was your goal? I'm gonna make sure that this restaurant is the cleanest McDonald's restaurant that anybody has ever gone to, right? Grant Cardone says he had to make it happen, right? He had to. There were no two ways about it, right? There were no two ways about it. The problem that he faced was not competition. And this is huge in the real estate industry. The problem he faced was not competition. It was obscurity. Nobody knew who he was. As a real estate agent, nobody knows. You get out there as a new real estate agent, nobody knows who you are. Obscurity is the thing that kills you, right? Over time, he's been called a lot of things, right? Due to his commitment to action, he's been called a workaholic. He's been called obsessive, greedy, never satisfied, driven, a maniac, right? But every time he was labeled by somebody who was operating at a lower level than he was, not the fourth degree of action level that he was working at. It was always somebody working. It's always somebody operating at a less than fourth degree level of action, right? Taking massive action means making somewhat unreasonable choices and then following up with more action, right? And you're gonna get haters. You're gonna get haters, right? He said you expect to be criticized when you start taking massive action. Expect to be criticized when you start hitting it big, right? If you want to, I'm going to finish up with this. If you want to deliver at massive levels, if you want to be massively successful, you have to deliver at this level of massive action, right? Never say no to an opportunity. If you want to be a speaker, never pass up an opportunity to speak, right? If you want to be a salesman, never pass up the opportunity to sell, right? If you want to be an actor or an actress, never pass up an audition, right? Money and power follow attention. In order for people to even get to the point where they know, like, and trust you, they have to know you first. They have to know who you are, right? You've got to be willing to take massive action in whatever it is you're doing, right? I think the book that he wrote before this one is called "If You're Not First, You're Last," right? Do not worry. Do not compete, right? Do not compete. Dominate, right? I don't care where it is. You want to be successful in real estate. Don't try to be everything to everybody. And it doesn't have to be real estate. It could be everything. It could be anything else. Don't try to be everything to everybody. That's a little fish in a great big pond, right? You want to be a great big fish in a little teeny pond, right? And because if you become a great big fish in a little teeny pond, guess what? You can find another little teeny pond to be a big fish in, right? Just don't spread yourself too thin. You need to niche down. You need to dominate in your market. So if you are a real estate agent, what area can you dominate in, right? whether it's geographic area, whether it's a specific demographic that you're working with a specific type of real estate, you know, residential, commercial, whatever it is, right? I keep gravitating back to that because most of the people here listen are talking about real estate, but this applies anywhere, any market, any kind of business that you're in. So anyway, are you fired up? Right? Read this chapter. Read this chapter. Right? I didn't even do it justice. But if you read this chapter and you really let it get into you, you know that you cannot be average. Average is mediocre. Right? I don't want to be mediocre. I don't want people to see me as mediocre. Um, I'm going all in. Whatever it is you're doing, go all in. Right? Get out there. Make today the best day of your life so far, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on the Millionaire Mindset Book Club. Have a great day.